Welcome to another edition of Client Success Stories with Coach Action Jackson Bloore of Action Jackson Fitness. I'm here with a superstar. His name is Nima, and he absolutely crushed, annihilated, and destroyed my 16-week program, losing a total of 20 pounds, 12% body fat. He lost 3.5 inches off his waist, and his strength score went up 333 points. Insane results. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Jackson. Good to be here.
It almost seemed like you were kind of like, I don't know, sort of blushing or deflecting a bit of that praise, like, no big deal.
No, it's really nice to hear it, right? Like I've had over the past few weeks, I've had a couple of instances where, people have called me out for, my arms looking a lot bigger or just slimming down or whatever it was. And it just makes you feel good. And just to hear you say it out loud really kind of validates all the hard work that I've been doing for the past several months. So it's good. It's cool. It's a good feeling.
Amazing. I mean, we're diving right into the deep end. And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm very proud of you. I'm super proud of you. And I'm very excited for these stats. It really does mean a lot to me, just because I know how hard this is. It's not an easy journey that you're on. Now, we do our best to try to make it as easy as possible on you, but it's still not an easy thing. Now, that's exactly why the results that you get not only are so outstanding, but that's why they change you mentally, physically, emotionally. It's why they can have that compounding impact on your life. But I know how difficult it is, and to see what you accomplished in only 16 weeks, it's mind-blowing, it's awesome, and it's really incredible. So I'm proud of you for sure. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Now, why don't you tell me, kind of rewinding back a little bit before we started working together, where were you at kind of mentally, physically, emotionally, and why did you want to get started on this journey?
Yeah, so, it's an interesting story where especially the last couple of years. So I just turned 40 a year ago. And my whole life, I had worked out and exercised and stuff, but I had always kind of been overweight. I'd never been in like super great shape, but I could run, 5 miles or 10 miles on any given day. I could do all of those things, but I was never like super into fitness, and I never really had a lot of direction in working out, and I never really knew properly how to work out. Like I might get into running for a few weeks and I would go run every day, or I'd get into cycling and I'd go run, or I'd go cycle for several months or whatever. But I was just jumping from one thing to another. So I never really like honed in and focused on like just being healthier overall, just my overall lifestyle change. And then I had my first kid 2 years ago. And that, throws your whole world upside down. And then I had my second kid about a year ago, or just under a year ago. So time became a real commodity, right? Like a real valuable commodity that I did not have anymore. And then about a year and a half ago, I had to have, I was only 39 at the time, but I had to have a hip replacement just because of an injury or just some stuff that I had going on with my hip. Anyway, I had to have a hip replacement. I was the youngest person the doctor had ever done a hip replacement on. And that it took about 6 months to get fully back to normal. So between, having the kids and then just not having time for myself, and then really kind of being out of commission for 6 months, I had really just gained a ton of weight. Like I gained a ton of weight. I fell out of shape. And I just was not in a good place anymore. And I had gotten Tonal a couple of years ago, and I'd been working out on it with no real direction, just doing a workout here and there, and not really fully understanding how to really hone in and set a goal and succeed and just kind of follow a plan. And then also one of my buddies who I work with, he got a Tonal, and then he signed up for your program, and I saw his results, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I need. He kind of told me about the program. I saw some of his workouts and his meal plans. And what I really understood was I'm not afraid of doing the work. The work is hard, but it's very rewarding to get it done. I just honestly didn't know how to do it. Like, we went to school to learn how to read and to add and to multiply and do all these things. Nobody ever taught me how to work out properly. Nobody, and I know a lot about food and stuff, but nobody really taught me like how to break down your food and like understand all of the different macros and like all of that stuff together and combine that with a workout plan to really be successful. So I would do a lot of things over the years. And you know, like I said, I could go run 5 miles or something, and I would smoke everybody. I was pretty fast. I was like sneaky fast as a runner, because people would look at me and like they would underestimate me. But again, I was never somebody that people would come to for like, hey, workout advice. Hey, what do you do? What have you been doing? And I get that all the time now, which is really kind of a cool thing, which is why I was kind of chuckling earlier when you mentioned that.
Wow, a lot to unpack there. So it sounds like you had a number of obstacles come up, from obviously expanding your family to then having an injury come up that sort of derailed your fitness. And while you weren't really on a regimented program, it did kind of take you off in a pretty bad direction in terms of being able to work out and maintaining your healthy weight. So you gain a bunch of weight, you see your friend, he's got some crazy awesome results. You're excited and you're like, hey, why don't I give this a shot? Was there like a moment or something that was like a trigger that was like, I need to do this? Or was it just that you saw your friend and you were like, hey, why can't I do this?
It was a kind of a combination of both, right? Because I saw him and I had been searching, right? I've been searching for the right way to do it. And you know what, whatever your fitness journey is, everybody has a different formula that's going to work right for them, right? Some people it's, you know, this type of workout. My wife was really into Pilates. That was her, you know, magic formula that really worked for her. And I had just never truly found what that was. And then I saw my buddy and I saw his results and I was like, you know, if he can do it, there's nothing that he can do that I can't do. Like he has access to all of the same things, you know, we're about the same age, like all of the same stuff. I was like, you know, it's just a question of getting your mentality in the right place and then just kind of having the proper plan and leadership. And this is really kind of where what you were providing really helped, because having those workouts, number one, having Tonal in the house is an awesome thing, just because for a time saver, if you got a busy lifestyle, high stress job, kids, all of those things, it really helps, right? Like you don't have to drive to the gym. It's just there. You got 30, 40 minutes. You can pop in and do a workout. But just having the knowledge base there of not just your plans that you put out, but also the community that comes along with it was really, really helpful. And then also, for me at least, having somebody else that I knew that was in the program that was successful already was a real like it was a real driver for me, because I was like, well, he did it and he was successful and he's asking me every week, what are your results? How's it going? How's it going? And I'm like, he's going to know if I'm not doing it. So I better stick to this and get it done. So that was real helpful for me as a motivator.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that. I tell people all the time that, you know, what you're doing, I say it matters. It really does matter more than you think. And when you get great results, people see that. You don't really think people do, but they do, whether it's your direct family, of course, that has a very good, close relationship with you, or your friends, colleagues, coworkers, neighbors, whoever. Like people see what you're doing. And when you get some great results or you're doing really well, that can really positively impact other people. And it sounds like your friend got great results. He was really excited. That had a pretty positive impact on you, because it got you thinking, hey, why not me? I can try to do this too. And then bam, now here you are today on Client Success Stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And you talked about people asking you for workout advice. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we're going to obviously show the before and afters. Like, you look like you played in the NFL or something. Like, you just have a fantastic, like, I don't know if it's just, you know, you have a good base, or if it's somewhat genetics or the way you carry it, but like, you just look big, huge, and strong in your photos now. I mean, it's just incredible. And of course, when you put like the rag on top of your head too, on top of it, it just makes you look even tougher. Like, you just look like a genuine badass.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I have definitely never been this strong in my life. Like I can just, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but more than just being in better shape and like, you know, just kind of feeling good, I move so much better. So like I hit 40 and it was like almost like immediate, where I was like, oh man, things are hurting. And I wasn't moving well and I was carrying a lot of extra weight. And now I'm chasing 2 little babies around. And I was like, I have got to be better than this. And more than like even just looking better, I was like, I've got to be able to move better. I've got to be able to keep up with my kids. And also, I need to set a better example for them, right? Like that was a big moment that clicked for me. As like, I need them to grow up seeing me work out, just like I need them to grow up seeing me like work hard at work, or have good hobbies, or reading books, and all of the things that are like we consider good habits. Your kids have to see you doing that, and in order to see you do that, they have to be your habit. Like, so I had to make it a habit, like working out every day. And now my little 2-year-old daughter knows when she sees me go get, the workout shoes and I'm going up to the room, she's like, Dada, workout? And I'm like, yep, every day she knows, Dada, workout, and I'm going to work out.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Incredible. Albert Einstein has this quote where he says something along the lines of, the paraphrasing, leading by example isn't the only way of leading. Leading by example is like the only way of really leading and showing. And when I was 5 years old, I got my first, I got a Hulkamania weight set and started working out with my dad because I saw what he was doing and I wanted to do it too. So I was like, I want to be big and strong like my dad. Like, I want to do that. And another one of my clients, Ryan, he talked about this a lot, where he said, my kids saw what I was doing. And when I was eating ice cream, or I was skipping my workouts, or sitting on the couch watching television all night, they saw that and they would do the same thing. And now that I'm eating healthier, I'm working out, they want to do those things too. So I've heard this saying before, that habits aren't taught, they're caught. Meaning what your kids see you do is typically what they're going to do. Not what you tell them to do, not what you say to do, not what you try to teach them to do, but what you're doing, that's probably what they're going to do. So the fact that you're setting that example and that you're cognizant of it, you're aware, and you are taking the right action steps to do it, not just preach, you're taking action, you're executing, you're being the change that you want to see. Man, that's incredible. That is so incredible. And it just means a lot to me, because this is why I'm doing this today. As a little kid, seeing my dad, getting stronger, getting bigger, eating healthier. And I'm like, I want to do that too. I want to be just like my dad. Like, that's so cool that you're doing that. So I commend you for that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see, where do we go from here? I mean, we've covered so many good things already, from overcoming injuries and getting to this point. Now you're feeling better than ever. I think one thing that you said just a few minutes ago that I'd love to touch on and maybe get some additional thoughts on is, you mentioned obviously looking good. This is amazing. People are complimenting me, but I've always said, having a 6-pack or big biceps and, the physique that you have, which is amazing, but it's kind of like a byproduct, right? It's the energy, it's the confidence, it's the way you feel, the way you carry yourself, the way other people respond to you. Like, those things are more important than just the physical benefits. So what have you kind of experienced? You mentioned energy, you mentioned being able to keep up with your kids now. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I've heard that before. Like, anything else you want to tap into there, or that you've become more aware of now that you're in this good place?
Yeah. So there was something that you and I talked about when I first talked to you about entering the program that really stuck with me. And one of the things that you had said is, you go through this program and you accomplish something that you thought maybe was difficult or impossible or an unattainable goal, or a really difficult goal to attain. And then once you get to it, you realize that, hey, that wasn't impossible. It was hard, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And if I can do this, what else can I do? Like, are there other things that I thought were unattainable or impossible that maybe don't seem so difficult anymore? And that is definitely happening. Like, professionally, I'm working on some things on like side businesses and stuff that I was like, I just don't have the time to do it. But now I'm like, it's not that I don't have the time to do it. It's that I just didn't have the right mindset to do it. And that's definitely a paradigm shift that's happened for me now. And anything that comes up, like, one of the things that my wife and I are always talking about is financial freedom, not having to work for others, and kind of taking control of your own finances. And we're, both, successful people. But, we're still working for others. But over the last several months, we're starting to put some things in place to like change that, with some side business and other things. But really the mentality of like saying, well, I did this, I can do anything. There's nothing that stands in my way. It might be hard, it might take a long time, but that doesn't mean it can't get done. And anything that's worth it is going to be hard. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of hard work. And that's a big thing. I think that's probably the most important thing that's happened. getting in better shape is great. You feel better, you know, all of that stuff. And that's really important. But nothing is as important as being able to like look at a problem or look at a challenge or look at a giant mountain in front of you and say, I can get to the top of that. Especially if somebody else has already done it. There's no reason. If they can do it, there's no reason I can't.
Nima, my skin is crawling. Like I literally have goosebumps on my skin after hearing what you just said, because that is one of the core messages I really try to impart to people, is that it really is, it's working out for the mental benefits. It's being able to live a life without limits, looking at things and saying, why not? Why not me? I can do that. And when you do what you did, you achieve something that's almost seemingly impossible, or maybe at one time you thought, that's not possible. And then you just blow the doors off it. And it's like, yes, I can do it. Why not me? Sure, it's going to take hard work, which you acknowledge. Sure, it's going to take a plan, intention, strategy, all of these things. But yes, I can do it. If with enough time and enough hard work, I can accomplish those things. And that's just such a great message. It's so incredible. And I love that you're now taking what you've learned from this health and fitness journey and applying it to other areas of your life, because that is going to lead to a life truly without limits. Oh, it's so incredible. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a big message that people need to hear. And you said it beautifully. You said it beautifully.
Well, thank you for kind of imparting that wisdom on me and kind of setting me down that path, because that's what it took. And you know, one of the other things is I've always been kind of a skeptical person, and you seem like you're very much an optimist, and you know, you're always looking forward and driving forward, and that can be exhausting for other people that aren't that way to look at that. And it's very hard for me to buy in sometimes, right? Like when somebody's like, you just got to do it, just change your mentality, and you really have to buy in, and that's very hard for someone that's a skeptic, right? Just because of, you know, all the things that happen in everybody's lives. We are just kind of a collection of all of the events that have occurred in our lives, right? That's who leads us to who we are. And at the beginning of this, I had really told myself, I'm like, I have just got to buy it. Like I got to put my stuff in the back burner, because that's all blocking anything that I'm going to be able to accomplish. Like anytime when I look at something, I'm like, I can't do it. It's not that I can't do it. It's just that all the stuff that's happened in my life telling me that I can't, right? So I was like, I really had to focus and put that on the back burner and just be like, just buy in, just follow the program. It's 16 weeks. Just buy in. If it doesn't work after that time, then I know I was right, right? And I was glad to be proven wrong there.
Wow, you're just blowing my mind today. This is such a great interview. How incredible. I love that, love that, love that. You're right. It can be very difficult, and it is exhausting. It's a daily thing. I think Zig Ziglar talked about, he said, people say motivation doesn't last, so why would I do it? And he says, that's right, it doesn't last, but neither does bathing. That's why we do it daily. So it is a daily kind of thing of trying to set my mind. I have this thing, positivity primer, that I do in the morning. And certainly I have my bad days. I have, my bad weeks every once in a while, but it's just trying to reinforce this perspective. And I shared this on our first phone call, and I'll share it here for everyone today. I say that, it's training, it's nutrition, it's mindset, and then accountability or responsibility. And the mindset portion is way more important, and it's bigger than you think, because most people, they fall short, not because of the physical stuff, but because of the mental stuff. And perspective alone on a problem can be the difference between massive success or incredible failure. And the perspective alone, I think about this, just something close to home and something very personal to me. My dad talks a lot about the time when my mom was in hospice right before she passed from cancer. And he talks about how terrible it was and all this awful stuff and how negative it was. And when I'm doing some of my gratitude exercises in the morning, I think about how amazing some of those moments were, because those were some of the moments where our entire family came together. All of us came together. My relationship, my sister, it's never been better because of that time we spent together. And I just think about like sitting there, me, my mom, my dad, my wife, watching a Clint Eastwood movie together. And wow, I'm just so grateful for that moment. And that's not a moment we ever would have had she not gotten sick. It would have just been life as usual. Oh, I'll see my parents later. I can go another time. I'm busy with work, this, that. And it was like, no, you can't be busy with anything else. This is what matters now. And you can either look at this one of two ways. This is going to be the best time of your life, or this could be the worst time of your life. And if you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're going to be right. So you might as well try.
Yeah.
You might as well try to stay on the optimistic and positive side, because what else? I just got injured recently, hurt my back, and I had to take a few days off. And it's like, immediately Jocko Willink, the first thing, my wife was like, "You're acting strange. You don't seem upset about this." And I was like, "Hey, got injured from training. Well, I needed a break anyway. I could, focus now on this or something else, or, I've been doing a little bit more cardio stuff." It's like, what can I do that's going to be positive? What can I do that's going to keep me moving forward? Because what else, right? What else are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's incredible, man. I love that. And just to hear like those two things alone, of one, using the physical exercise to push yourself mentally, into now really kind of break through these limitations, these mental barriers that you had, to be like, why can't I start a business? I can do this. I'm a smart guy. Entrepreneurship isn't just for Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. I can do this. And then that, but then also getting this new perspective of just being a little bit more optimistic, or maybe just looking at things with a different perspective. Those two things alone can massively change your life and the outcomes. This, like, I'm talking about an inflection point in your life that I'm seeing. I'm just seeing this kind of like gradual increase in this inflection of just like, wow, incredible. So incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what's really cool is, over the 16-week program. So at this point, I'm down to probably about 22 pounds now. And, I'm wearing clothes that literally didn't fit me, 4 or 5 months ago. Like I couldn't button a shirt or something. And now those clothes are just baggy on me now. All of these things. And all that said, I've got a long way to go, right? Like I'm still not at my goal. Like I've still got definitely extra pounds I'm carrying. I want to lose those. But I look in the mirror now and I don't see that. All I see is like, I'm like, wow, look at my arms. Like, look at the veins in my arms. I can see it. And then the extra stuff that still needs to work on, I'm like, oh, that's fine. I have the plan for it. Like, I know that's going to go away. Like, I see the next step of this. I see the next piece of the puzzle kind of falling into place. And that's kind of cool. So, when you get started on the program, it's really difficult because like, the workouts are hard, the meal plan's hard, all that. But you really kind of start to see results pretty quickly. Like especially if you have a lot of extra weight to drop, you start dropping pounds quickly and you're like, oh, okay, I've only been doing this for like 2 weeks, but I'm already like down X amount of pounds. And then by the, phase 2 or phase 3, you're like, I'm legitimately seeing big differences in what I look like. And then towards the end of that, the fourth kind of month of the program, I mean, people were saying stuff, mentioning it to me on the regular. I have a couple of really funny stories of the doctor, and I think I told you this. The guy was giving me a shot in my arm, and he lifted up my sleeve. He's like, looked at my arm and goes, "Are you a trainer or something?" And I was like, "Wow, I don't think anybody could have said anything better to me at that point in time." And then I was like at a work conference a couple of weeks ago, and hadn't seen these guys in a couple of years because we hadn't been traveling for COVID and all that. And somebody, we're just kind of joking around. This guy kind of punched me right in the chest. And his hand came to a dead stop as soon as he hit me, and it was just solid. And I could just see the reaction on his face completely change. He just went from laughing and goofing to just dead serious, like, oh my God, what did I just do? I think I just hit a brick wall or something.
Oh my gosh, those are two fantastic stories. Incredible. That's so funny. But what you said about like getting to a point where now you have the power to change, that is the best part, because it doesn't matter whether you want to get a 6-pack abs or, build huge biceps, or if you just want to lose 5 or 10 pounds, like whatever it is that you want to do, it's having a plan, it's being able to create a strategy and then do it and execute, and then be okay with that outcome. And if you don't want to get 6-pack abs, that's fine, but at least you have the power to make that decision and make that change. Not everybody wants to be a billionaire and run a company. That's fine, as long as you're making that decision consciously and not just being pushed around by life into, oh, I wish I could lose weight, but I can't, or I wish I can get 6-pack abs, but I can't. No, I could. I know what's involved, and I choose not to because I like where I'm at here and I like my lifestyle, for example. Like that's the great thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And also what I've realized about myself is I'd always kind of followed the path of least resistance. Like, where can I do the least and get whatever I get, the minimum amount that I need to be, right? Like whether it's for work or this or that or the other. And I've gotten really good at being able to do that. And then when I started this program, I'm like, this is definitely not the path of least resistance. This is a resistance-filled path that I'm choosing. This is a true like deviation from my normal path that I would take. And now, you know, everything I look at, I'm like, I'm not looking for the path of least resistance. I'm looking for the path of the best results. And whatever the amount of friction is that comes with that, that's what comes with it. That's just the amount of work that you have to do for it. So I think that's a big thing that I've learned and really just changed my mentality with.
Yeah, there's an old fitness model. His name was Greg Plitt. He passed away a number of years ago, who inspired me when I was first getting started in my career. And he had this saying he used to say, he's like, yeah, the shortest path to success. He was an Army Ranger. He's like, it's not scaling the wall, going over, going underneath, building tall. He's like, it's just breaking the fucking door down and go right through the middle.
Right through it. That's right.
So I always think about that, like, I'm just going to get big and strong and just go right through the middle. And while that doesn't mean we want to take the meathead approach to everything, we certainly have an intellectual approach and scientific with what we're doing. Oftentimes it is the hard work that's going to create the progressive overload of the body, the adaptation, the growth, the change. And then bam, it doesn't get easier. We get stronger, you get stronger. And that's such a key distinction that not a lot of people think about. It's like, oh, the workouts will get easier, the diet gets easier. No, it doesn't. You get stronger.
Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. So after I finished kind of the first four phases of the program, last week I went back and restarted and did phase one again, thinking, oh, phase one, it shouldn't be as hard as it was the first time I did it. But I've spent the last 16 weeks just increasing the weight, increasing that strength score, like pushing myself. So when I did phase one again, you know, the same exercise that I had done 16 weeks earlier that I thought was super hard, I was like, oh, it'll be super easy. No, because Tonal knew I was stronger. It was increasing the weight. It was pushing me to a PR on every single set that I was doing. And when I couldn't walk when I was done, like I was like, I do not remember this being that hard. And then, and then I'm doing the second week again of it. And I'm like, okay, it's getting better, but it's definitely not any easier than the first time I did it, even though I'm way, way stronger and way like just better at doing it, just in better shape overall. It's definitely not easier, even though I'm doing the same thing again.
Yeah, it's because you've gotten comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know how to push your body. You know how to kind of reach that red line and push and get through the barriers. Whereas before you didn't know as much. So your sort of zone that you were operating in, your comfort zone, was a lot smaller. Now it's really expanded, and you're able to push into those upper limits and really redefine your limits, because you can go so much harder, so much faster, push more weight, and you're just more capable of so much more. Well, that's fantastic, man. I mean, I want to be respectful of your time. This has been an incredible interview. There's so many incredible things that you mentioned here. We've touched on a lot. Any final thoughts, anything you want to share with anybody out there who's sitting there thinking, you know, Nima did it, but I don't know if I can, you know, any last kind of inspiration, motivation, or education, as I like to say, that you'd like to impart on people?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just do it. Just give in and do it. Like if you really want to make a change in your life, if you really hit that point, if you haven't, and you're not going to buy in, and you're not going to really like put yourself into it, then, you know, maybe you'll get a little bit of results. Maybe you'll, you know, feel a little bit better or drop a few pounds. But like, if you're really like at a point where you're like, I've tried a lot of things, and you just want to honestly change, not just your physique, but just your overall health and mentality about it. Like, this is the way to, and you know what? Maybe this isn't the right program for you. Everybody has something different, right? But whatever it is, like, just go all in and get rid of that skepticism, and just go all in and do it. That's really it. It's like, whatever it is, just go all the way in and go for it.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I want to just acknowledge you and again reiterate that I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for how much progress you've made, all the successes. But more importantly than just all the physical and the strength and everything is the mental stuff that you talked about today. That really does mean the most. And the fact that somebody inspired you and now you're inspiring other people. And you know, I say this all the time. It's cliche. It sounds like, oh, this is just a talking point, but it's true. Somebody dies every like 36 seconds of a heart attack from heart disease. We want to try to change this. We want to try to change the world and have people become healthier and stronger and more fit. You talked earlier about, two areas I think that people really lack. Nobody teaches you how to be healthy. Nobody teaches you how to eat healthy, how to exercise, how to do these things. There's two areas in life that I think people need better education. It's finances, of course, right? How to manage people, how to manage your money, and then how to manage your health and your fitness. And if we can at least accomplish the one with health and fitness, boy, we can really make it really far in this world. And I think we can improve everybody's life. So thank you for being an inspiration to so many people out there. Again, I'm so proud of you. And I appreciate your time. Thank you again.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Have a good one.